Money has proven to be one of the most enigmatic and widely used items in our society. Many people aspire to acquire as much of it as they can, but don't have much of an idea as to what it is actually for. Money can be most accurately defined as a medium of exchange, a medium being a vehicle, tool, or means. Money is something that allows two or more people to swap something of value. In practice, money could be just about anything agreed upon to facilitate that exchange. Whatever is chosen as money becomes a constant unit measure of value. Throughout the ages, money has taken several forms: commodities, coins, paper, banknotes, and digital money. Historically, a wide range of items have been used as money. One of the oldest known forms of money is cattle. From approximately 9,000 to 6,000 BCE, in various parts of Africa, cattle were used, in whole or in parts, to measure differing units of value. Money changed from livestock to agriculture by 3000 BCE, where barley was being used as a medium of exchange in Sumer. 1,000 years later, the bearer of clay tablets would have that right of exchange. By 1200 BCE, the Chinese were using cowrie shells, and in 900 BCE, whale's teeth were being used in Fiji. These items are commodities, raw materials, or agricultural products, and their use in this fashion makes them commodity money. The transition from commodity money to coins is historically noted to have occurred in Europe in the 5th century BCE in Lydia, Greece. Gold and silver were fashioned into the electrum stater to be used as legal tender for all debts, public and private. Of course, precious metals are themselves commodities because of their many possible uses, giving them intrinsic value, or worth within themselves. The benefit was that a standard measure of value in gold or silver could now be utilized to give a more accurate comparative calculation of value. Gold served as a standard medium of exchange for centuries to come because of its beneficial characteristics. Its sun-ripe color makes it distinguishable from many other types of metals. Gold can also be melted down and retain its composition when it cools and solidifies, so it can be used repeatedly for different purposes. Its malleability allows it to be formed into many different shapes for use as a tool for multiple functions, and it's a finitely rare element made in the core of stars. The downside of gold as money is that it can be debased by adding other metals to it, thus bringing down the value and creating inflation. Paper money was the next step in the evolution of money. Paper money was present as far back as the 7th century when utilized by the Tang dynasty, and in the 11th century by the Song dynasty in China. Those slips of paper money were attached to deposits of precious metal, thus creating a commodity standard which was based upon a definitive amount of a particular commodity. The paper was a representation of the commodity, thus there could be no more paper money than there was of the commodity itself. The inescapable truth was that wealth would be capped because the underlying commodity was relatively finite. Commodity money, represented by a piece of paper, is essentially a promissory note, or a written promise to pay a sum of money in the future to a specific entity. When the US dollar was backed by gold, one could redeem your gold on demand by exchanging the Federal Reserve note for the equivalent amount of gold. Promissory notes, commonly analogized to an IOU, have value where there is an underlying asset or commodity that can be exchanged for the note. Even where there is no underlying commodity, the note is backed by the faith and credit of the issuer, be it a business, a corporation, or a governmental entity. The promissory note, as issued by banks or banknote, began in Italy in the 14th century with the founding of the Bardi and Peruzzi Bank. A banknote is money created by banks out of loans issued against bank reserves or bank assets. Banks were at the forefront of creating money in the global money supply when many governments had yet to create a uniform money system. Taula de Canvi of Barcelona, Spain, and the Medici of Italy are widely recognized as the first official banks with the services we utilize today. Banca Monte dei Paschi di Siena, Monte di Pieta, of Siena, Italy, in 1472. The Fuggers of Germany in the beginning of the 16th century, Banco della Piazza of Venice, Italy in 1587, and Banco Giro National Bank in 1617, all created and provided bank promissory notes to wealthy individuals and governments. This ability to create money is what gives banks great power, particularly today, where a high percentage of the money in the money supply is created through deposits loaned out at interest. Digital money or currency is the most current iteration of this medium, designed to help exchange value from one party to another. The idea of digital money or currency began to be introduced to the public in Amsterdam in 1983 by David Chaum. Digital money was opposed by established governments with established currencies. Money can be anything, but currencies are specific negotiable instruments chosen by a government and designated as the acceptable form of payment for public and private debts. Digital money works outside of and in direct competition with that established centralized financial system by offering a decentralized platform. Cryptocurrency, while technically not a currency, is a form of digital money that operates utilizing that decentralized platform. Each one of these forms of money served its purpose for those who agreed to utilize them, but each one also had its limitations, which made it less than ideal for anyone to continue having confidence in it for the long term, whether it was because it was degradable, more valuable as a whole, too abundant, too distinct, or lacked assurances. Every prior form of money would outlive its usefulness and be replaced by something more effective. The 5 most important characteristics of money are that it's portable, durable, divisible, scarce, and has intrinsic value. Although it has taken many forms over the millennia, money is but a medium, tool, or vehicle used to exchange something of value. If I have something that someone wants, and that person has something that I want, money is a third item that we both know can be used to exchange our value in acceptable proportions. Even though our items may have different worth, corresponding increments of money can allow us to share our items, so long as we both have access to enough money. It can also be used to store value or as a unit of accounting. The foreign currency exchange allows a speculator to trade on that value and make profits based upon that exchange and service. The value of any currency comes mainly from the gross domestic product, produced by a country along with the supply of and demand for the currency. Where money once started out as something of value within itself and went on to merely represent something of value, today it is but a tool that is used for one person or entity to transfer some form of value to another person or entity. It is important to make some subtle differentiations in the definitions of several terms that are commonly used interchangeably. Money is defined as a medium of exchange. It is a product that provides a way to exchange 2 other products of differing value. Just about anything agreed upon can be used as money. Currency is all medium of exchange used within a country and can include all aforementioned financial instruments accepted by parties to a transaction. Legal tender, though, is currency that is specifically designated by a government to satisfy all debts, public and private. This means that the currency can be used to pay taxes or to satisfy any other transaction within the jurisdiction of that country. A prime example of legal tender is the US dollar.